Here we go at the lovely studios of WSAN Radio, located at 502 Montana on the corner of Hackberry. We are in this black museum here. It's called the William Historical National Museum. We do a lot of our interviews and guest appearance right here in this spot where I'm sitting at. If you want to see more of our guests and see our past interviews, go to our YouTube channel. That's WSAN Radio SA. And once you go to that channel, you be going down rabbit holes. You want to see what did he say here, what happened there. So we're here for you. This is your platform, San Antonio. So come on board, come on down, and join the train ride, and come listen to WSAN Radio, San Antonio, Texas, downtown East. Good afternoon, Glenda Henry. How you doing today?
Very well. Thank you, and thank you for having me this afternoon.
Oh yeah, this was great. Your friend Tammy. Oh, that girl got a lot of energy.
Yes.
I wish I get just 5% of that energy when I have one of them days when you start going downhill.
Right.
Give me one of those and Tammy pills or something like that.
Me too.
Yeah, but she was she talked about everything going on, and she was excited, and I said, okay. I said, you passed the test, because I vet sometimes who's coming on the show, because I don't want nobody on the show that's gonna be okay, all right, one answer, one word to a question that answer. I said, oh no, that's not gonna work. But she assured me it won't be like that.
Okay.
So you are in Guadalupe County.
Yes.
How did you become chairwoman of the Democratic Party?
Yes. So I moved to Cibolo, Texas in 2015. And shortly after I arrived, I decided that, I was nearing retirement from the military. And I decided, let me get involved, and get started in the voting process. I was very interested in it. So I immediately started working as a poll worker and a judge in Guadalupe County through the elections office, became a deputy voter registrar, and just maintained that certification or that training and that certification since that time. And shortly after that, at the same time, I was serving as a precinct chair for my precinct on the county executive committee for Guadalupe County. And then as time went on, and I retired from the military, the sitting chairman of the Guadalupe County Democratic Party decided that he would rotate out and not run again. And I asked him what his thoughts were of me taking that place, if he thought I could do it, and talked with some of the other CEC or County Executive Committee members, and they, felt like I would be able to get that job done. And so I ran, and the first time that I ran was in 2022 and was elected into that position. So I'm ending my first tenure as chair of the Democratic Party.
I gotta ask you, was it a landslide vote?
Well, I was the only one there, yes. But at least I was willing, so I was good with that. Yes.
A lot of people are cautious about doing it nowadays because of the climate the way it is right now, threats and all that going on. And here I'm an election judge here in Bexar County, and I brought that up about security one of the meetings we had. And they told us, well, we're working on this, we'll get back with you. And they did get back with us and told us a procedure for that. But it was ironic that nobody asked about security while we were there. And after I brought it up, I said, well, see, I sit back and listen to everything. And then I come up with my questions. But that was only the one question I brought up, because if I brought up the other ones, we'd still be there.
Okay. Right.
So that was one of the main ones I wanted to bring up. Speaking about security, did the county tell you anything about security for Guadalupe County?
No, so the answer is no. There was no security questions brought up, and more than likely part of that was because they probably had not had any security breaches or anything that kind of like would challenge or make anyone feel like they needed security. However, in light of some of the recent events. And, a few years back, we had some events up on 35 North with the Biden-Harris bus, and I think that was in and around the San Marcos area. I'm not sure the area, but there was that incident. And then the incident at the Comal County, we do, even though we have not had any incidents, we still are aware that we need to make sure that our security is tight. So we did have the Democratic Party, Guadalupe County Democratic Party Club had an event last year that they had some security, and we do know that we need to make sure that we do have security presence at some of our functions, especially those outside of our meeting areas.
Yeah, yeah, you do, the way the climate is right now. What are some of the major issues with the Democratic Party in Guadalupe County that y'all want to look at and maybe change or do something?
Okay, so that's a great question. One is a few things that we're doing. First of all, is we have endeavored and taken a risk to have some online year-round presence. We need to have a year-round presence for voters to come to our headquarters to get information, to get educated about the issues and the candidates, and to find out more information about how they too can run. We have a lot of times when some of the positions that are being voted on the ballots are unopposed. So we need to have our presence on the ballot as well. Part of that is getting out to the voters, or at least having a place where the voters can come and learn information, or come and get information, or talk with someone. So we have endeavored, and again taken the risk to having online, I keep saying online, but having year-round presence, having an established headquarters that we would keep year after year, because voting is always, there's some type of election going on all the time. A lot of times we only pay attention to those presidential elections or primaries, but there's other elections that are going on around throughout the year. So we need to still be present for people to come and get information and education. But most importantly, it's also a location where some of our volunteer workers will come and call out to voters to make sure that they're educated and aware of elections that are coming out. Not only calling them, but doing mail outs. So we're always looking for, we're doing those things, but we're always looking for additional volunteers to come and help with that cause. We have approximately 72 precincts in Guadalupe County, and we're about, I want to say, just a little shy of 50% filled with a leader. So we need to increase that so that we can get more information out. So those are our challenges, in addition to the current, the ongoing challenge of financing. So we always need donations, and folks can do that through our sustaining member program, where you can choose to donate $1, $5, $10, but do that on a regular basis. So that's, in order to fund the activities that we have, that we would like to see going on, and what we need to do to reach voters.
Okay, which brings to my other question, and this one right here: how can we bring the voters out? And the reason why I said that, I looked at the stats for Guadalupe County. You almost had 200,000 in 2022 who are registered voters, but only 50,000 voted. Now that's not saying what party it is. That's just all in the whole.
Right.
How can the Democratic Party tap into that
Yeah.
and get more voters?
I think the secret sauce in that is to just to continue to doing what I was just talking about, getting information out, having a presence. We have a lot of voters who maybe don't know, and they don't have a place to go, and they don't see us. So we have a couple of initiatives going on. We're having a concert at the end of the month that I'll talk about a little bit later, where we're doing outreach, not only voter education and information, but getting out there so that people would know there's some Democrats out here, because we do, the area that we live in is, a highly, if you will, a high Republican presence. But our goal is to make sure that we get Democrats out to vote, but just to make sure that everyone is voting. So I think that the way that we get voters to vote is we got to mobilize them. We have to energize them. We have to talk to them about the reason why they need to vote is because we will all live with these consequences of voting voting, not voting, or maybe voting for the wrong person, we are going to live with it, with whatever consequences of every election. So we just need to continue. It's not going to happen overnight, but we still have to keep some presence out there, letting folks know, letting voters know, not only that we're here, but we're providing them the information and education, not only about candidates, but also about the issues that are going on that may affect them or may not. We're just talking about the issues.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the early voting one right here. 39%
Right.
did early voting, which is good. But early voting, especially with the seniors, and who could get a paper ballot? I mean, a ballot in the mail. I know
Right.
you have to be over, I think, 65.
That's correct. That's correct. And we do in the county participate with the Secretary of State in mailing out. So we pay for the ballots to be mailed to our voters, our vote by mail voters. And there's other different categories that you can fall in order to get a vote by mail ballot. So we do participate in that. And when I mean participate, we pay for it out of our budget to have those ballots mailed to those voters. So there is not only that you mentioned the early voting a few minutes ago. We encourage everyone to vote early. And the reason why we do encourage everyone to vote early, you don't know what's going to happen on the day that you plan to vote. Anything could happen, either the weather or maybe there's some type of roadblock or family emergency. So we want to publicize the early voting dates, and we want to make sure that folks are out there voting early, to forego anything that may happen, either on election day or as those days go by. As a reminder, our early voting in the county is 2 weeks prior to the Tuesday of the election day. So we have 2 solid weeks of the ability to vote 7 days a week. Our voting elections office and our voting opportunity during early voting extends through the weekend in between those 2 weeks. So there is Saturday and Sunday afternoon voting during our early voting period. And we do encourage our voters to vote during that time frame, to not necessarily say get it out of the way from that aspect of get it done and you don't have to worry about it, but to go out and exercise your right to vote, to secure that and make sure that you get your vote cast at a time during that time period. We publicize those 2 weeks of early voting so that folks can plan, go into, as we're approaching that early voting, time, we want to make sure that folks know what the early voting dates are so that they can plan their vote. Now, the dates, are usually set, and again, they end the Friday before the Tuesday. So the Friday before November 5th is going to be that time frame that, before our presidential election is what I'm saying. But that Friday before November 5th will be the end of early voting for our presidential election. But as a matter of a battle rhythm or, how we vote in Guadalupe County, we always have early voting 2 weeks, 2 solid weeks prior to the election day. Yes.
I think they do that statewide.
Yep.
And I'm glad they got it uniform like that. Now, the other thing is about registering people to vote.
Right.
How they know that they're registered, and how you become a registrar to get people to sign people.
Registrar.
Yeah.
Right. So there's in Guadalupe County, we have training on I think it's the 3rd Tuesday of the month, but we can always call our county. We have an an excellent election administrator in Guadalupe County, and we have regularly recurring voter registration or deputy voter registrar classes. So you can always go to those classes, contact myself, or go onto our website anywhere and find out how to become a attend the training to become a deputy voter registrar. The beauty about that, and where we are in the county, I encourage all of our DVRs to become deputy voter registrars in the surrounding counties. And the reason why I do that, and for example, when you come to Guadalupe County and you become a deputy voter registrar, I encourage folks to become a deputy voter registrar in Comal and Bexar counties. And the reason why I encourage them to do that is because when you go to events, whether it's at a church, whether it's at a festival or wherever, to set up your booth to have a voter registration event, you could have a person come up to your table from any one of those counties because we live so close to each other. I may go down to Traders Village that is in Bexar County, but somebody from Cibolo could be down there as well, and I could register that person to vote because I maintain that status. So once you become a deputy voter registrar in Guadalupe County, you could take those credentials to Comal County and Bexar County or any of the counties in the state, and you could receive the same type of credential in those other counties. And the folks at the elections office will take care of providing you all of the information, and the education that you need in order to conduct that. Whether that is giving someone giving someone a registration card that they will mail in, or going ahead to register them right there on the spot. And then the DVR will take care of the necessary paperwork after that. And then after you do that, after you execute that, you can always go onto your county elections office website to verify that you are registered to vote. And I just encourage folks to do that just because I do it myself. I just go on just to make sure that for no reason was my name dropped off of the rolls. So you can always go to your your county election office website and make sure that you are listed as a registered voter. Usually after you register to vote, you will get your voter's card, and I usually carry mine with me as well so that I will always have one that is current. I just want to make sure that I don't have any issues coming in the way of me being able to vote. Yeah.
Speaking about that, so let's say somebody come in a precinct and voted and they couldn't find that they were registered. Mm-hmm. Are they able to register right then and there and do a provisional ballot?
Yes, they could. Well, what they do is if they feel like they registered to vote, and like you said, they're at an election is what you're describing.
Yes.
They're at an election and they feel like they're registered to vote. They can do that provisional ballot, and then all of the information about that goes to the elections office, and then they do a query of that, and they review that application to see if that ballot could be cast or not. Yes, that is correct. And so that can be done. But here in the state of Texas, as you very well know, we are required to be our voter registration, or you have to be registered to vote 30 days out from that election date, from the date of the election. So I just encourage everyone to go ahead and get, if you're new to the city, new to Guadalupe County, new to Bexar County, Comal County, wherever you are, if you're new to that area, go ahead and get registered to vote, and then verify that your voter registration card or action was received by your elections office so that when election time comes, you are prepared to vote.
And I'm thinking the last day you could register to vote is October 5th.
Will be in and around
30 days before the election.
Right, in and around that date, that specific date. It'll be a date on the wall, yes.
Wow, how much I educated myself.
Yes, yes.
No, I read up on all that because I want everybody to know.
Yeah, and it's important because Texas is one of 10 states that you can't register to vote right up to the day of the election. Mm-hmm. So therefore, it is important that people understand that because if they're one of 10, there's 40 additional states out there who have different voter registration rules and guidelines. So it is important that everyone knows that you do have to be registered to vote at least 30 days prior to the election date when you're moving into the if you're new to the state of Texas. Yes.
Okay. So what are some of your concerns there about volunteers like judges, mm-hmm. admins, and
clerks?
Clerks?
Yeah.
Do y'all need more?
Yes, we need more clerks. Thank you for asking that question too. So yes, we are always looking for more clerks and for more folks to participate in the polls. We have over 30 voter registration polls in Guadalupe County, and those need to be manned during election time. And it's always good, it's always wonderful to have new people to come to work at the polls, either as a clerk or a judge, as you mentioned just now. And it's always good to have, it's good for many reasons. one of the reasons that it's good is that for folks to understanding voting process, we hear a lot about things that we hear a lot on the news about things that happen at the polls. And once you've worked a poll or worked at a voting site, and you see the care and the attention that goes into and the detail that our election office has us to go through in order to run an election poll, run an election, or run a poll site, appropriately and accurately, you get a better understanding about how that goes, and some things that you may see or hear on the news that don't quite sound right in terms of what does happen at the polls. So therefore, we're always looking for new people to come and have that experience. And then as you have that experience as a new person, you also have more opportunities. You can work many days during the early voting period and on election day. And election day, working at the polls on election day is nothing like that early voting, because it gets real down to it on election day. None of the rules are different. It's just that we all have to be there from the beginning to the end. But that can be a long and grueling day, but you have done your civic duty, or done your service at that time. But we're always looking for people to work, because you never can tell when we could have a list of folks who are going to work at the polls, but life happens sometimes and somebody has to be out. We still need to have that person covered. We need to be able to have someone to go and backfill that person. Again, I work very closely with the election office and to keep a list of voters, a list of poll workers to be able to do that. And so it's important that we do that, and we have someone at each one of our polls. We have some remote poll sites, and we still want to have people out there to work at those polls, and so that if someone is missing, if someone is out for any reason, we can backfill that position.
What about poll watchers?
Poll watchers. So again, those poll watchers are requested by some of the candidates, and if those candidates request those poll watchers, they will certainly, there's a very stringent protocol that we review in order to have those, make sure that everything is done, right by the book. Let me just say one other thing in terms of the poll watchers and our clerks. Our election office, as I said, do a very good job of providing us with information. If at any time you have a problem or you have a question about something that is going on during the polls, around the polls, or maybe, as you mentioned earlier, that provisional voter, our election office, we have a telephone right there on the desk where we can call to our election office and get guidance from our administrators right away. So there is no delay in getting that. If we need supplies or anything else, anything that is needed, they're always a phone call away. So we always, and I mentioned that because that's a huge comfort, especially to a new person or somebody thinking about working at the polls. Am I going to be out there by myself? Am I going to do something wrong? Is what happened in another state going to happen to me? We always have our election office is always there, just a phone call away.
And I'm going to let everybody know it's not an 8-hour job on election day. I have to show up at 6 in the morning.
Yes.
But we go the day before,
right?
2 hours a day before. Then we get there at 6 in the morning, and the latest I ever left was like 9:30 at night.
Right.
So it's you can't go anywhere. Bring your lunch.
Yes, bring
your dinner. Bring your snacks. Bring all that, because it's only one time out of the year that you do that. Not unless you want to do all the other elections coming up. But it's not a job that you're going to say, well, I'm leaving at 5. No, you're not.
Yes. It is a long day. It is a long day. But I would tell you that equally, in addition to it being a long day, it is an equally gratifying day that you will have worked the polls. And so that you can educate not only your family, your friends, your churches, your organizations as to the actually everything that happens during a poll or during an election cycle or during an election day. But it is a long day. And then as a judge, you also have to stay behind, wait for everybody to be gone, then go turn in all of your equipment. And again, they just go straight down by the numbers and making sure that the locks and security and that all parts of the process and the procedures are done correctly. And again, our election office does a great job of having it line by line, everything it is that you're supposed to do. And so, but it does present a long day.
Now, I don't, well, it probably there at Guadalupe County, but when it's a presidential election, we gotta have 2 judges there.
Right.
One Democrat, one Republican.
That's correct.
Just in case something goes array
Right, right.
or what. So we're there for, but they don't know which one we are.
Right,
We're
that is
just
correct.
judges, and
That
they
is
and they don't need to know.
right,
you
right.
know.
That is correct. And the other thing that I've experienced, we don't we the workers that I work with, we don't. That's not a topic of discussion. That's not something that we discuss which one that we are. There's no winking and no sign and no nothing. We just go in there to make sure that every voter who comes into that polling location gets an opportunity to vote. And that's the thing, that's the job that we're there to do, to make sure that everyone gets the opportunity to vote. We provide them with their ballots. We make sure that we get them signed in. We check their credentials, with pleasantries, in a pleasant, very pleasant manner. We also do a great job of trying to keep everything moving so that we don't have our voters waiting a long time. In addition to that, if you're a voter who cannot get out of the car for any reason, have a reason why you can't get out of the car, we have locations there where we will come out to the car and provide you that opportunity to vote. They're clearly identified at each poll location where you can pull up into that parking spot. There's a telephone number right on a easel right in front of that parking spot that you could call us, and we come right outside and assist the voter in being able to vote. So that's our total job when we're there. As you said, there are two judges, a Democrat and a Republican judge, but at that particular time, we're there to serve the people of Guadalupe County.
Exactly, and I feel that when we go there because we get there in the morning by about I say 6:45.
Yes.
We're about ready. We are ready.
You are ready.
We are ready. So we have 15 minutes to have that cup of coffee.
That's right.
And that cupcake or whatever you bring in there.
Right.
And you got 15 minutes.
Yes.
And as people don't understand, you're coming in, and it may be somebody different that we'll swap around. We all don't sit in the same place.
That's right.
And we do all that. Then if there's a lull, where it's nothing to do, two of us will grab lunch.
Right. That's correct.
And then after that, we go back over to see. People just don't know. You come in and vote, but you don't see what goes on behind all that.
Right.
It's something, but you got to have a good team together.
Yes.
And that is the key. The chemistry got to be there. I'm blessed to I got a good team with me. I mean, and we do good together, and I like doing all that. But every once in a while, what makes me feel good is somebody say, we appreciate what you're doing.
Yes.
We get a lot of that nowadays.
A lot of thank yous.
Thank you for doing what you're doing. It's one of the kids that thank you. I'm glad y'all doing it because I couldn't do it. I say, well, thank you. I could have commented on it, but I leave my comment very small and short to it.
Yes.
But it is gratifying to
Very
get out there
gratifying.
and see people like the 2020 election. This was our first time. We had a line that started at 6:15.
Nice.
And it wrapped all the way around the school, all the way around. I went out there and looked. I said, get your coffee, get everything right now, go to the bathroom, everything you got to do, because we won't get a break for at least an hour or so.
Right.
And sure enough, about 8:30, it sort of thinned out.
Right.
Then it came back again.
Yes.
And lunchtime came back again. And then 5 o'clock hit, we couldn't even go get a glass of water.
Right. And to your point about having a good team, we do take a lot of pride in moving the voters through.
Yeah.
Not harrying them, but getting them through, getting them checked in, because we know that we have other voters standing outside the line. But if you say that you had a line at 6:15, I just love it, because that means that the voters are bound and determined to get out there and vote. So that's a wonderful thing. We want everyone to cast their votes. So that sounds really good, but it is something that we as elections officials that we do take pride in, and that is moving the voters through and making sure, as you said, with that teamwork, that everybody is doing what they're supposed to do so that we can keep everybody moving to the next station and on out the door. We want our voters not to have to stand in long lines. And we also use statistics to determine, how many polls, how many voting ballot stations we need to have, vote stations, we need to have inside that particular location. And, we do look at our statistics to see, our election office does that, to look to see how many voting stations we need at a specific polling location so that we can keep voters moving. So, it's something that we do endeavor to, it's always nice to, wheedle that line down in about an hour or two, as you described. And we are not allowed to open until, the 7 o'clock hour. So it is always good to have not only to have a line, but to know that the team inside is working really hard to keep everyone moving. So that means that if you come and one of us is one of your friends or neighbors, that's not the time for us to
chit-chat.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yes, that's not the time to chit chat. There is another voter outside who is waiting to get in to exercise that duty. Yes.
I know we had something happen and everybody stopped. And I said, no. You go over there. I'll take care of everything right here. So I sat down. I was a clerk. I was running them through. So once that situation got resolved,
right,
I still stayed as clerk because we were moving things through. If I turned around, one of the lines slowed down, then I said, okay, let's switch.
Yes.
But with situations, you got to be resilient.
Yes.
You have to know what to do. Don't sit there like a deer in headlights.
That's correct.
You have to jump up and take the bull by the horn. And I did it. I sat down there because that's how I am anyway. So I just went on and did it.
Yes.
But nobody could tell we had any problems.
Yes.
And that was a good way of doing it.
That's good teamwork right there, too. Yeah. That's good teamwork and that no one could tell.
And so when that was over with, they asked me, how'd you know what to do? I said, I've been a supervisor for over 40-something years. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's built in me to, situation come up, jump right into it.
Right. And anything could happen at any time. So again, we just need for willing workers. We just need for folks who are willing to come in. Nothing is going to happen that we cannot be, if it's not a judge right there on the scene who can take care of. That telephone is right there where our elections office will talk with us about anything or talk us through anything that's going on. So, you really don't have to worry about that if you're interested, and we would love to have you. If you're interested in working at the poll, we'd love to have you to give us a call or contact us and let us know that you want to be a part of the poll worker. And it's right on our Guadalupe County election office site, where it says, I want to be a poll worker. You just press that button, fill out your application, and they'll get you started. Very pleasant people down there, and so they'll get you started in anything that it is that you want to do. So your only limitation is you. So give us a call and let us know if you want to participate in that. We would love to have you, and would love to usher you into, becoming more aware of this important exercise of us as American citizens, and that is our right to vote.
Exactly. Final question. I know there's a 100-foot rule that's out there. I haven't experienced it yet, but I've seen some precincts experience where people are out there heckling the voters going in. I don't think that's good. They're trying to intimidate. And I tell everybody, don't let nobody intimidate you not to vote. You go vote, stand up. If you're in line, if you're not inside yet, if you feel you're being threatened, there's that 911 you could call.
That's correct. That is correct. And that, unfortunately, thank you for asking that, because it could be a question that someone has. Unfortunately, we had that experience during the primary where we had something like that to happen. And I was contacted by the voter, and I called our election office as well. And because when I was contacted, it was after the fact. But everything that you just said, dial 911, notify the elections office, and we will get something done about that situation, because no one should be intimidated, because as you said, there's a 100-foot rule, but somebody could be at foot number 101, you know what I'm saying? And so therefore we don't want that to happen at the polls. Unfortunately, that just tells us all the more reason why we need to get out and vote, so that we can have, make sure that we have appropriate local and federal laws in place to prevent things like that from going on. Voting is not about a partisan issue. Voting is about voting. It is exercising your right as American citizen to vote because we have a democratic nation. Our nation is run on democratic views and ideas, meaning like rule of order. So therefore, it's important that we all vote. And so we're here to make sure that everyone gets out and votes. Get out and vote, and let your vote be cast, because we are all going to live with whatever the consequences of our vote. And for those people who don't want to vote, you're going to live with the outcome of your decision not to vote. No matter what happens, you want to say that you have done your duty, and that is to cast your vote for whichever the candidate whichever the ideal, whichever the issue, just cast your vote. And that's really all we're saying. Cast your vote. Exercise your civic freedom to be able to do just that. At the end of the month, we are going to host a Blue Wind concert series. The Peterson brothers will be at the Stephen Mary Birch Theater in Seguin, and that concert is just about promoting folks, encouraging, mobilizing our voters to get out to vote. We just want to keep saying it. Get out and vote. Get registered, as we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Get registered to vote. Make sure that we're passing out information so that folks know when voting is going to happen, who's on the ballot, and creating that year-round presence so that, when we say that we have unopposed positions, you come out and consider some of those positions. Your neighbors could be considering some of those positions. We'll have them listed so that you all will know, our voters will know where it is and what positions that there are that are becoming open for them to get out and vote. For them to get out and run for some of those positions so that they're not run unopposed. But we do want to just encourage everyone to get out and vote. Exercise this. There's people around the world who don't have this freedom to be able to vote. And so we do have this freedom that we can participate in knowing who our leaders are, because we will have leaders in leadership positions around our state, around our counties, and our individual cities. And we want to make sure that we as voters, eligible voters, are getting out and exercising that right to vote.
Amen to that. Woo, you said a mouthful right
Yes.
there. Well, Glenda Henry, we appreciate you coming down to the studio and talking with us. We're gonna get you back.
Okay.
We definitely gonna get you back.
Yeah.
I like your spirit and the things that you're saying. And you're a newbie.
Yes, still a newbie.
You got 1 year on your belt already, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Going on to finishing up 2.
Yeah, you're not a newbie now. You're there.
Yeah.
Listen to you talk right now. And we appreciate you taking time out to talk to the voters, not only in Guadalupe County,
Right.
but this is going all over the United States. And if you didn't get anything out of this, then you weren't listening too good. You could catch the replay on YouTube later on today. So, Glenda?
If I could just
Yeah.
say that just our Get Out to Vote event is going to feature the Peterson brothers from Austin, and they will be at the Stephen Mary Birch Theater in Seguin, Texas. That's going to be April 27th at 7 p.m. You all please come out and participate in this event. You can get your tickets on Eventbrite or contact me at chairgcdp22@gmail, and we'll get you tickets to get out there to see the Peterson brothers so that we can become immobilized and come energized about voting at each election. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Well, that was the chairwoman of Democratic Guadalupe County, Miss Glenda Henry. We appreciate her coming out today. And I'm DJ Ron G. I'm sitting back at all. I love everything that she said. And one thing I'm going to end on is sometimes when you tell people the truth, they get mad because the truth always hurt. And you cannot lie about stuff when it comes down to people's life, because whoever is running for office, you win that office, people are dependent on you, or else they wouldn't vote for you. So don't let nobody down. We welcome everybody who listened to our guest today, and we appreciate you chiming in and let us know what's going on. If you have anything you want to talk about, please hit us up at 210-461-8034, or hit us up on our website, WSANradio.com, and we will be glad to have you come on board and be one of our guests. Thank you.